Introducing Dr. Clyde Winter and on their name, put some respect. Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? What up? How you doing, Eve?
Hey, Dr. Winters, what's going on? How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Fine, and you? It is a happy Wednesday. I woke up this morning, and I woke up this morning and I checked. I said, damn. Let me see. Do I know what day it is? Whenever you get my age and you go get your checkup, they always give you 5 things. At the beginning of the checkup, they say, "Okay, Mr. Winters, remember these 5 things." Okay, and then they'll tell them to you. Okay, then at the end of the checkup, they'll check to see if you remember them.
Oh, no. So it's like a cognitive check?
Yes, it's a cognitive or a memory test.
I mean, I guess they got to make sure that as you get older, you have your wherewithal
Yeah,
about yourself, I guess.
yeah. You always want to kind of, if you can, you hope you can keep your faculties. You don't want to. 2 things: you don't want to have to wear a diaper, and number 2, you do want to hopefully be able to, communicate with people and stuff. You know.
That's for sure. And I
Yeah.
know, look, so speaking of communication, my oldest son is trying to communicate to me. He wants to keep his phone longer than he's supposed to be keeping his phone. I think he was about to try to write me a whole note because we're live. And you don't have to do that. It's time for bed. Good night.
Yeah, we know how it is. That's the fun of when they're not teenagers. When they're not teenagers, you can get them to go to bed.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like as they get older, they're more inclined to listen because, incentive based. And as we speak, here comes your belly rubber.
Ah,
Go to bed, man.
maybe.
You can't have a Pop Tart. It's time for bed.
Yeah.
I see it right there. You can have it in the morning. Good night. Good night. Thanks.
Maybe that's the whole thing. Is that they still want you to be there. They still want to to be acknowledged that they exist. So that's important.
I mean, that's for sure. I mean, I don't really mind it as much as I think that they kind of put on a little bit extra now because we are taking more time with them and seeing how they're all individually progressing. It's maybe it's I don't I don't want to say it's a challenge as much as I don't want to not say it's a challenge, but 5 individual minis with their own personalities and just everything gets so big so quick. So,
But that when you're a mom, it's kind of easy because all you got to do is, if you try to be a strict mom or you try to be spanking people, no, that's not how you do it. You get better results by just making them feel guilty and ignoring them.
I mean, there is, I think there's something to be said about the emotional argument that at least the boys are more inclined to listen to the emotional argument. The girls, Well, they have their own emotional arguments, don't you know? So
I don't know. I let my wife kind of handle my daughter. Great so far said when you're a kid, you know, ain't nothing like a nice hot cinnamon brown sugar pop tart.
that is so funny. And he's gonna have to wait until the morning to eat said Pop Tart. Um, I don't know if that's the flavor that we have, but they they did find out about a microwave at school. We don't use the microwave here at home, and
Yeah,
at school is different because there is a microwave. So they, and I'm talking, 5 years old, just popping their Pop Tart in the microwave because they want it nice and hot and just. I said, y'all are so extra. But I also found out that they were roasting marshmallows in front of the space heater of their classroom. So
who
I,
did that? That teacher let them do that?
I, I don't know that she let them do that as much as they.
How
Um,
could you? How could you do that? I don't. I'm not hip. How could you do that?
um, it. I guess they're very creative.
Yeah, because I don't know. But like I said, I'm old, and you guys know more than me. I mean, these kids, the little babies know how to handle phones. I saw a picture of a baby on YouTube. She had the phone, and she was just clicking it, trying to find her little pages and stuff. So I mean, hey, it's this is a new day. It's an interesting day.
No, that's for sure. Speaking of interesting day, um, yesterday we had class, right? I love your research class. And then when we get out of your class, we have all sorts of conversations about, the different things that we've been talking about that we want to research, and then just another thing to research and another thing to research,
Yeah.
and it's like a rabbit hole. But I wanted to share this thing. No, not that one. This one. Share this tab instead. Did you guys hear about this? This was crazy. And then come to find out that she's, well, local, kind of.
Everett claims it was an accident, saying she lost her balance while rounding a curve on the track. Meanwhile, her and her family continue to receive public scrutiny. Which prompted, I should say, the Portsmouth NAACP to look at the details. The
Oh,
Portsmouth NAACP says Everett is not an attacker. They've been in contact with Everett's family and have expressed thoughts and prayers to the Tucker family as well. In a recent statement from the organization, they say they're not only focusing on the incident, but also the disturbing responses targeted at both Everett and her family. That includes racial slurs and death threats. The Portsmouth NAACP goes on to say, quote, "We are committed collectively to ensuring that the criminal justice system, which we feel is not warranted in this situation, is executed fairly and based on due process. We encourage Liberty University authorities and the Commonwealth to exercise caution and restraint in this situation, as the individuals are both minors." Now, the Portsmouth
Now, I mean,
this is so pathetic. This is so pathetic. I mean, those things happen. I ran track, and I mean, those things happen. But it's just that they want to make everything. They want to, in a sense, kind of criminalize our children. You know.
oh, that's for sure. And they say exercise caution because there's minors involved, but the minors have been plastered all over the internet, their pictures and their faces, and well, that video, in all sorts of speeds. It looks like it could have been on purpose. Maybe she lost her footing. I mean, I've also run track, and I've never, even when passing a person or when a person is passing me, have I felt like my bubble was off. But, I guess that happens. People do fall, and then if you're the person who falls and then causes an injury to other people, do you get a charge for that? Or is that just a
Maybe
consequence?
you had better coaching.
Maybe. I don't know. I think I told you about my coach, but maybe I didn't. We won't talk about them tonight as much as sports. Mascots. I wanted to talk about mascots. What do you think about mascots? Like, do you think that they're just a random coincidence of this team chose this mascot and then,
Well, it's supposed to be kind of like a totem. A mascot is supposed to bring you luck. And so then they, just like in the old days, you see these pictures of some of the early European royalty, and they might have a little black kid. He'd be cute, a little turban, and and they would have him as a mascot. So then, or a pet. And but when you're thinking about in terms of university, mascots, just like me, I went to Illinois, so our mascot was Chico Enact, and so he was supposed to be an Indian, and so then now they don't really want, now they don't really want him to be out there dancing and all that type of stuff. But
what's the school you went to?
University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, the big I, not the little I, the big I.
Champaign. Okay.
University of Illinois, the big Illinois.
Got you.
Yeah.
And it's a bird?
No, that's probably Illinois State.
Oh,
we're in Indian. Chief Illini.
Okay, I see him. Yeah. that looks very prejudiced.
Well, today they say it's prejudice. Back in the day, it was going on. But I don't know. A lot of this is very interesting. But some of it is just pretend. Some of it is just so pretend. I really don't know what to really believe anymore, because a lot of it is fantasy. All this stuff, people all upset about different things that I think are, inconsequential. It's not going to really affect you.
It's not. That's for sure. And then you got people who, they can't wash a certain sock or eat a certain food on game day because their luck is going to bring the team luck. And then if they have to deviate from what they did that one time where their team won, then they're the reason the team lost. Or I don't know. Well, that's all the
You're absolutely correct, because just like some people feel they're not going to shave, or they're not going to cut their hair, or they got special socks, and if they don't wear those special socks, they're going to lose the game, And so some people just have these crutches. In a way, I think I never had one, but maybe in a way it helps fortify among certain people the idea that they can win. But it can also be crushing, I imagine.
But you're talking about the athlete with the totem, like the athlete who, I don't know. I feel like all the stereotypical things that bring people luck are kind of gross. Like, it's always about not washing something, or it's got to have that mark on it, or we have to come in. Well, maybe I don't know.
Think about that.
That's all really
about that, because not washing. Who believes in the sense that by not washing you're going to be sanctified and holy?
It might be the people that had to be taught to use washcloths.
You're absolutely correct. And so then,
therefore, you ever think about that during the pandemic, when we had the shortage of things, sanitary things? It wasn't because there was a shortage. It was just people who had never bought that stuff was buying it, and then those people were buying it in mass. So then they were kind of hoarding it, and then it's like, well, why are you hoarding unless you're about to just do the sell it out the back of your car type of thing? But
I think that a lot of people really felt that they needed that toilet tissue, and but I'm old school. Use some newspaper and just shake that ish. Not I shouldn't say that, because really that's the as I've said on many occasions, the greatest invention that the European made was toilet tissue. That was the I think we made it to somebody. That was the greatest invention ever made, you know. Because see, I mean, you want to feel comfortable, you know,
Oh,
and
that's look, if you think about it, prior to it, you might have had some sort of hard paper, like you were just talking about, newspaper type paper. Think
yeah,
about before that, if you were in the bush, like how some of y'all are from, you have to make sure that the leaf that you chose wasn't going to give you any sort of reaction, and I don't know about the wilderness in or on the motherland, but I'm talking about here. We've got poison oak, poison ivy,
yeah.
poison sumac. Like,
Just think about a poison ivy. You grab some poison ivy leaves and you wipe it. What? Ah! Give me scratches.
imagine the first person whose ass was on fire because
Yeah.
they had to wipe it with the foliage or whatever, because I believe that we've always wiped our asses, and it was very strange to me to see a multitude of videos of people saying that they didn't wipe their ass and that we were the strange ones, and well, only if you go number 2 as a woman. And it's like, well, what do you mean only if you go number 2? I mean, that I don't want to get into your hygiene or people specific hygiene, but it's just very strange.
I know because I don't know. I only had one wife, and but I just know that my wife always washed up with 2 cloths, you know. And then when I think back to my mom, 2 cloths. Everybody was 2 cloths when they were female. That I and then when I heard about the tennis player, and she had to teach her husband how to use a towel, and it just was kind of weird to me because I thought everybody did that. But then I know this is that one of the biggest problems that hospitals have always had is white doctors washing their hands. That
Right.
seems so simple, isn't that? That seems so simple,
Mhm.
but just washing your hands, it seems as though that can kind of get people discombobulated, especially Europeans. So, I can imagine. I remember, back in the day when I was in school, certain people they didn't want to use deodorant and stuff. Some of those people. But then I think about when I was playing football, everybody got in the shower and washed up. I mean, hey, I don't know. It wasn't such a big, I mean, it wasn't such a big deal to me. Now I think about now I wonder what do you do? Back in the day, I'm playing at Illinois, so there's white. Most of the football players were white. Then it was some of us who were black. But it looked as though it wasn't such a big deal back then. But look like now would be a big problem. In the locker room and all that type of stuff. I don't know. It just seemed like with all the things that people talk about today, that it would be kind of a big problem. But again, a lot of these athletes, especially nowadays with that NIL, they can make so much money. Back in the day, you used to have to work a summer job, and if you worked a summer job,
That work study.
you had to work a summer job, and then they would buy you a car. You didn't have the money for the car, but then they could say, "Okay, you're in the money for the car." I remember. When we played. What was it? We played University of Washington, and then I remember Rashad. He was on that team back then. So I knocked. So I was covering him. Even though I was a linebacker, I had to cover when he went in the flat. So I knocked down 2 passes. When I came off the field, when we were leaving the field, a couple of Europeans ran up to me, grabbed my hand, $500, just to shake my hand and stuff. I said, damn. And nowadays these kids make goo gobs of money.
That's
So
true.
legally with that NIL. What is it? Name, image, and likeness.
I think it's a tangled web, because while you should be able to make money off of your likeness, maybe we're giving too much focus on things that don't really matter. And again, I'm a person who enjoys playing sports. I enjoy watching sports, and I enjoy the competitive spirit about it. However, the fact that you can run a ball, kick a ball, shoot a ball, hit a ball, it run fast in a loop or run fast around nowhere. I mean, all of these things are very cool, but that's it. That's as far as we're gonna go, just to be able to do this thing really cool. And I don't mean the exercise aspect. I'm talking about how you were talking about the athletes having these totems, and I see fans, people who are not participating, they have a ritual. They have if everybody in my family on my mom's side, 2 cousins to the left, don't do this one thing, then the team's going to lose. And then it's all our fault because we didn't do this. Or if we don't have Alfredo tonight, the night before, because that one time we had it before the game and then they won. And then what is going on when the people who have no dog in the fight feel so...
But they have a dog in the fight because, it can become a family situation. Just like, usually at least 2 games a year, all of us will get together, my sons, and, we'll all get together, sometimes their wives will come. Most of the time they don't, but sometimes the wives might come. But, your wife is going to fix some nice food, or you're going to go buy some chicken, whatever. So I have a nice little time talking-ish and, and watching the game. And then, hey, we used to do that with the Super Bowl, but I'm not such a Super Bowl person. I watched it this year. I don't know why, but this year it was so political. I watched it later. I watched it, but then, I enjoyed the game. But then the next morning when I woke up, I had lost my black card, and I lost my black card because the next day they had all these videos, Dwan B, and Dwan and all these people talking about all what I didn't see. Said, damn, I must was in the twilight zone, because a lot of that stuff I did not see it. Then they were talking about the halftime show and they not like us. I know they not like us, but so then for a couple of days, definitely that Monday, and Tuesday, I felt like, somebody had repossessed my black card, and I was walking around. Maybe I was like a mascot then, because I don't know where do I last? You see, listen, Eve, you got to be a part of something. It's some ritual, like it's some ritual that okay, like me and my wife, back in the day, before we would go to bed, we'd always maybe have some ginger ale or have a drink or something like that. No, not a real drink, but it's just like you and your mate, you and your partner have a ritual that y'all do maybe every day that where you guys take a break and just use it as a time for conversation, and stuff like that. Even though people understand that your bedroom is ran by the woman, your woman runs your bedroom. As I guarantee, if you don't listen to what the hell they got to say, you're not sleeping at night. So you gotta listen. But
I won't say that we don't have some things that we do. I don't know that I've ever considered them to be rituals, but maybe that's just because I just am ignorant of the definition of ritual. Sometimes we think we know what something means, and then we find out that, oh, that actually could mean something else, or is deeper or not as deep as I thought it was. Like the other day, I thought that commission meant that you would get paid, but it has nothing to do with pay. I don't know if you can see my thing. There we go. Okay, so this is an example of what we were talking about.
Miles, Pre-game rituals are common for most athletes and coaches, but few are as weird as these. Former football coach Les Miles is a very superstitious dude who believed that it was his duty to take in every part of the game. And we mean that literally, as Les would eat the grass off the field before every single game. Apparently, Tiger Stadium tastes the best for all you grass lovers, but an even better and weirder ritual than eating grass is scoring before and after every game, if you know what I mean. Cap star Ovechkin ensures that he sleeps with a woman before and after every game. Keep in mind, each
All right. I like that.
82 games. Bow down, Wilt. Pre-game rituals are common for most athletes and coaches, but few are as weird.
So that was not as weird as maybe you would have thought it was, but just to be saying that you got to sleep with that many women to do what you need to do. Maybe your season, I don't know how you even gauge these things. These are research things. Like, how do you gauge if your ritual is working or not?
When I was in college, that's one of the things our coach said. That was the reason why if you were on the traveling team, that's one of the reasons why they wanted to make sure that they knew where you were that night, so you wouldn't be getting in any trouble, because like I remember. It was kind of weird. I remember when we would go play in different towns, and girls would be banging on the doors. A lot of times the coaches would go up and down the halls, at night, because sometimes the girls would do that.
Sure they didn't sneak in the rooms.
Yeah, that, and this is even when we go away, when we have an away game, because
they follow you, don't you? You didn't have like a not a bandwagon, but
they used to what they used to call them. I forgot what they used to call the girls who like to be with football with team players. Groupies, groupies. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you had groupies, and then, well, can you imagine?
I didn't have any,
Yeah, right.
I didn't.
But I mean, I guess that's the thing. If you know that when you get to college that there's a plan, and then that's what you were reared on, that's what your parents solidified in you, then you know what you need to do. I would say that maybe a lot of the groupies, if they were traveling with the team or following the team on the games and stuff, maybe they weren't Black. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were more.
Most of the time they weren't Black.
You said they what?
Most of the time they weren't Black.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then these girls are already on a path. They're trying to find someone to make life easy, or to be able to say that they got the ring by spring. That was a whole thing. I didn't mean to rhyme, but
got the ring by spring. I love that.
That's not me. I didn't make that up. That's something that's out there already. If you are able to get hitched while you're in college, before a certain semester, then you're winning. And it's like, see, here it is. Look. And it's never us. But maybe we're so focused on our...
Where's he at? Oh, okay. Let me see.
Stupid music anyway. But all of these girls are, showing that they got hitched before they graduated. And I mean, I think it's very telling that they're all in education, because, teacher.
Yeah, but what I found is just like, I've said this many times. When I used to teach a government state, and I taught the ed class, the research class, because at first I was, until I made one of my colleagues mad, I taught the psychology students and the education students, research methods. Mm-hmm. And so then the thing is, this is that I used to have white women always say, I want to do my research project on single parent, single parents and education. And then I knew why they wanted to do it, because the black women are supposed to be baby mamas and all that type of issue.
Right.
I'd say, you really want to do that? She'd say yes. They'd say yes. I'd say, do you have any children? Yes. Are you married? I was married. And then they would change their topic, because this is the Western Hemisphere. In the Western Hemisphere, it's popular for number one, women to have babies out of wedlock, and number two, most of the time, most Caucasian women do not stay with their husbands. They've been married, but they may have children.
They're not with that guy.
Yeah, but they're not with that guy, and they have children. And so then, but they always put it on us. I think it's part of the whole idea that that everything in America was cavalier because of slavery. During slavery, the slave master and other people, they could go and rape, women at will. That doesn't mean the women always what?
No, that's absolutely right. That they could do it whenever they wanted to. But is that why we are so eager to accept the fact that, the light bright that you don't know their story or history or genealogy was they had to have been raped by somebody white?
True. But even though I doubt it was that much raping, because there were consequences. Sometimes if you raped a woman, she might cut you later, or she might put glass in your food. So, but again, in a sense, that's the beautiful myth that every white man has, that he's gonna get with that black woman and have sexual intercourse with her. Me, frankly, I don't believe that all light-skinned, black people came from being raped, because the fact is that we come in all colors, and the first slaves were Aboriginals, and then the second slaves were Black Irish, and then the third slaves were in a sense Africans, but they say only about 200,000 Africans. I believe it was more than that, but I'll go along with just 200,000. So you figure that 200,000 Africans, 100,000 Black Irish, and millions of Black Indians. So it's all complicated. But again, in a sense, it's that whole idea. And so if you notice, from South America up to North America, having children out of wedlock is not frowned upon, even among the so-called Latino population, because remember, Latinos, they're a creation of slavery. If you're white, you're right. But then Latinos, in a sense, because of the fact that genetically they always carry a lot of Black genes and Indian genes, as opposed to Caucasian genes. But then you got your Caucasians, like the president of Mexico today. She's all white, Jewish white. She's all Jewish white. She's not a Latina. But the thing is that it's very complicated. But we do have this thing where you can have a baby out of wedlock, and you're not attacked by your family. You're not put down. It's just accepted. It's just accepted because that's one of the reasons why Christianity has, you can't really find a true Black Christian.
Why is that?
Well, because to be a true Black Christian, you have to follow the 10 Commandments, and one of the commandments is don't fornicate, and yet because of slavery, and the fact, in the sense that many of our women were forced to be sexually active at early ages, and we still are today, then therefore, in a sense, you can never really be a real Christian, because you can always have maybe out of wedlock children, or people who've been married. It's just like when I was growing up, it was a lot of, you would always have an auntie or two, and they had been married. But, then all of a sudden their husband down south would die. And you say, yo, where you going, Ain't Shorty? Going down there to get that damn man's money. And so then the woman that this guy that her husband had been living with for 20 or 30 years. You know, they didn't get married though. And so, or if they did get married, it wasn't legal. So then they would go down south and, you know, and get their husband's inheritance, even though they hadn't been with the guy in 20 or 30 years. So those are just some of the things that were complicating. You don't have that problem now because you can get a quickie divorce, so you can get a divorce is easy. But back in the day, they didn't get divorced. They just married somebody else, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that maybe the divorce rate being what it is and when it happens, maybe some game was not passed down to my generation of women folk, because if I think if it had been, then there would be more of what you're talking about. But for the most part, the divorces happen before the 10-year mark. And that 10-year mark is what gets you access to that dead man's money. And if you get divorced before 10 years, then you don't actually have any right to said dead man's money.
Where's that written at? I didn't know.
Let me see.
I didn't know because you know, because when I was growing up, they say cheaper to keep her, cheaper to keep her.
I believe,
you know, because
probably is cheaper to keep her. Let's see. Why you don't want to tell me the answer?
What do you have to enter?
Oh, for marriages over 20 years, divorcing spouses may require permanent alimony. Wait, is it alimony? What's the word I'm supposed to be searching for? Alimony is after you get divorced, right?
Yeah, alimony is after you get divorced.
But then after you die, you're collecting their Social Security, right?
I guess so. You know, I guess you can get that. But I don't know. Things are kind of complicated now. You know, because the way things are going, they're really messing with Social Security, so it should be kind of hard.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You
know, because just like I'm trying to, sometimes I'm trying to remember. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but you know, like now, sometimes it's hard to get your husband or your wife's pension when they die.
Oh, pension.
Sometimes it's kind of, I don't know. It was a situation some years ago, but I don't know. But you know, because you know, whenever you, I know, like you guys down south, y'all got state pensions, but you know, up here, we have a real strong union, so our union distributes the money, you know, so we have nice pensions. But the other places, usually the state regulates the pension thing, so that can be kind of a little difficult, you know.
I mean, I would imagine what I just Googled, researched a little bit. It says that, and I think that we were talking about separation, right? Because they were saying that they hadn't been with that dude in a long time, but now he's dead, so they're gonna go back home and get that
money.
But okay, so that's what I was thinking about. I couldn't figure it out. I had to do the little thing. But anyway, this little search right here says that you can be separated and still be eligible for their Social Security. If your marriage lasted at least 10 years, then you can collect on your ex-spouse's Social Security. And I think that that's what I was thinking about. I don't know about pension and stuff, but I think that, I mean, if that is what it is, you have to be at least married for 10 years, then, you know.
Back in the day, they wouldn't have been married that long. They go down there and get that money, you know, because I know one of my wife's sister, you know, her husband, he said he got sick and he said he's gonna kill her before he died, so they had to sneak her out the house and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, he had cancer, and so he said when he died, he's gonna kill her and take her with him. You know how some people are very possessive.
Very.
And some men, maybe women too, are very mean. Some men, women are very mean, you know. I mean, they're gonna. I used to always tell my sons that if these guys mess up your sister, you better go beat his ass. Then my daughter said, "If I don't tell you, you can whip their asses. You can't whip their asses." I said, "Okay, get out of here, get out of here." I said, "That's what you got big brothers for." I said, "See, you got all these brothers, and you never listen. I don't have to listen, Dad. I don't have to listen to these men." I said, "But see, if you got intel, they can tell you how to. I don't need the intel. Okay. That's why you got a divorce." Did I say that? No.
She's probably not watching tonight.
No, she don't watch. Plus, she know me. My they used to always say, "Pops, that's why we don't tell you anything." I said, "Why is that? If we tell Mom, it's okay, but if we tell you, you're gonna come and you're gonna make us you're gonna bring it right up to us in our face." I said, "Damn, you need to deal with it." I said, I used to play, and there you go. You used to play football. You used to do this. You used to do that. I said, you got to stand, on whatever you stand on. You got to have principles and stuff. They say, well, you used to have principles and you used to be in shape, and now you got that big old belly. I said, we're not going to my belly. Because I said, remember that song, the big belly man, big belly man. They say, well, you got a big belly, but you're not that man. I said, see, that's why you don't want to have family. That's why you don't want to have daughters. But they are wonderful. Daughters are wonderful, but they'll tell you the truth. You don't want to hear the truth. A lot of times you want to hear a lie. So your sons, they'll tell you a lie. Your sons will tell you a lie. Am I looking good? Yeah, Pops, you're looking good. Then behind your back say, damn, boy, Pops was looking wore out today. Damn. He looked way wore out.
Oh no.
That's why you're
that's very strange that that you would get that unless
your boys are usually brutally honest. We've lost Eve, but she'll be coming back soon, hopefully. But boys are usually brutally honest. Usually they do what they have to do to be able to kind of say things. Teresa Miller says, my mother's sisters and her man were considered common law after 10 years of living together. Theirs are in Arkansas. They eventually got married. Well, back in the day, people would be common law and they wouldn't be with each other for 10 years. A lot of people are scared to get married. A lot of people say they were married once, they don't want to get married twice.
Right.
It was a lot of bigamists when I was growing up.
A lot of what?
Bigamists.
Bigamous. That word sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's when you married and then you don't get a divorce and you marry somebody else.
Oh, but isn't that against the law?
What?
Isn't that against the law?
What?
Oh no.
We're not talking about the general society. We're talking about FBA society.
I got you under the old oak tree.
Yeah.
But look, so then how about this? When when talking about rituals, jumping the broom, and no, this has nothing to do with mascots, but we were talking about rituals, and we'll get back to mascots in a moment. But jumping the broom, is that an FBA thing or is that an African thing?
That's supposed to be. They said that's what they did in America. They said they jumped the broom, but somebody wrote it in Roots, and so people jumped the broom. I didn't. My mom and them didn't jump the broom. Huh?
Did you jump the broom?
Yeah, if my wife was trying to hit me with it.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't jump the broom. What they did? They had that in Roots. The movie.
The movie. Okay.
The television series Roots. They jumped the broom.
Gotcha.
And then after a while, that must be a tradition of Black people. Maybe they did. Don't say
that. Don't say that, because. And Yoshi, I need you to give me this clip of let the researcher do the research. And then I can, boom, do that every time you say something like, what you just said, because as the researcher, as the primary researcher, the unfalsifiable, to my knowledge, with the information that I've been interested in, researcher, how can you say maybe they did jump the? You would know based off of what you've seen already or not seen, and if you haven't seen it, then maybe we didn't jump the broom.
You know, I didn't see it. You know, but see, you had to remember is that I'm from Chicago, and the thing is, this is that you know the Southern culture was different. You know, my mom and dad. You know, I knew they were married because they had a marriage license, and she was Anna Hamilton, and he was Zenobia Winters, and I got the marriage license to show that they were legally joined together. But I mean, but the thing is, this is that I know my wife. You know, my wife. You know, I remember when she found out that her mom and dad wasn't married, she had a nervous breakdown. You know.
Oh no!
Yeah,
but this
because
is after she was an adult. She thought that they were married.
Yeah, because you know because her mother had all these rings and stuff. She had wedding rings and engagement rings and all that type of stuff. And so then, so her cousin said, you know, she said, well, anyway, my mom and dad, they blah blah blah. She said, your mom and dad ain't married. And then she said, yes, they are. And so
it's always a cousin.
Yeah.
Cousins always tell you some shit that you're not supposed to really know.
Right.
And then you got to go verify, because why do they know something that you don't know, that you should know, that they shouldn't know? Like, what the hell is going on?
It's because their parents knew.
Their parents tell them.
Mm-hmm. But and so then they know. And so then but again, like I said, is that, you know, because she was a little disappointed because her father before he died said he was going to get all the families together, you know. All the families. With IES. Not S. You know, usually you just put an S for plural. He put IES. You know.
Well, I mean, Papa was rolling stone.
Papa was a rolling stone. You know, my daddy, I said, Pops, do we have any family out there that I need to know about? What? You know, I said, don't ask me nothing, I tell you no lies. I said, well, hey. You know, said your mama over there might whoop my ass, so I ain't saying nothing to you. I ain't saying nothing to you. Not really.
That's funny. But I mean, I think that's interesting, because when you think about the traditions that we'll put on based off of what we get told, and then you think about who's telling it and why they're telling it, like, what the hell do they have us on? Some of us
think about that. Think about, they made Roots, made a movie up, and they had people jumping the broom. Then after that, everybody that had to get married, if you were black, you had to jump the broom. I was already married at that time, so I didn't do no silly mess like that. But I mean, it had to be, you know. So see, things can become part of your culture just through the medium. The medium, you know, media, they can have you doing things that you really wouldn't normally do, you know. But
I just asked my AI about jumping the broom, and it's all telling me that it's got deep historical roots, but nobody really knows where it comes from. But maybe it comes from West Africa.
Roots. It comes in the series Roots. Thank you.
That's so funny.
Think about it. How them brothers in Africa gonna jump a broom? They didn't sweep out no damn villages. Get out of here.
Oh man, that's
think about it. They wasn't going around. No, this is it. Eve. There are no black people on the planet Earth that think about cleanliness like we do. We think about our cleanliness. Just think about that. You got a damn slave hut, and the master got a big house, and you sweeping that fucking damn ground. You sweeping it. We like to be clean. We like to be clean. You know, that's why when you was growing up and it was that guy or girl that didn't wash up in school, you know, you might be bold enough. some of y'all would get together and then give us some soap or something, And I know you wouldn't have did that, but in my time they would do that, They'd give you some soap, but they'd get the baddest girl who could fight the best, she would give her the soap because she wasn't going to fight her back. But we are about that clean thing. You're laughing, but we are about that clean thing. You know it.
I'm sorry. You said give her the soap. And I'm trying to think if you were talking about she needs to take a bath, but then maybe you were talking about putting the soap in something and
no, she need to take a bath. She need to wash up. And I mean, I don't know about your time, but they used to do that a lot when I was growing up. If you were like other girls and stuff, if you was nasty and didn't wash up, it was all, I don't know. When I was growing up, there was always some girl that didn't keep herself clean,
Okay, so I guess I just was a little confused. No,
musty.
I actually think I think that might be an us thing, a foundational Black American thing or a native Black American thing, to give a damn about the people around us.
Watch out for them musty tethers.
You do look, man. That's how you can tell who's who, and that really I had these girls at the school that I used to teach at, so it wasn't an all Black school, but it did have a lot of Black students, and this the girl came in, her hair looked a mess, but then the girls in class, they kind of amalgamated around her, and then they doop, and then they kind of dispersed, and then everything was like the girl, she kind of was down when she came into class. She didn't say anything. It was almost like they got the little call from the Power Rangers person, like, you need to assemble and you need to assemble now. And then they kind of, it was so fast too, because normally the teacher that I was working with, she would have said something about the fact that they were doing hair in class. She hated that. Also, she wasn't like us. So maybe that's just why she didn't like that. But it was before class. Everybody had kind of got there on time. And I mean, in between the bell, it's got to be 5 minutes, but brushes came out of nowhere, jam came out of nowhere, hair ties. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
They would do stuff. They would do stuff like that, and it wasn't trying to really outlaw. But certain people, not so much today, but back in the day, certain people didn't have combs and stuff like that. I mean, back in the day and stuff, a lot of times people didn't have combs, and you had to have, I mean, everybody knew how to straighten hair. Come on now. Everybody knew how to get that straightening comb. And, you always see some sisters maybe with a burn here, a burn there, maybe a burn on the neck.
I've had a couple singes here.
Yeah.
Because, man, I don't know if it's like the person doing it can't feel the heat. It's like, I know you can feel the heat. You had it on a stove. I know you see the stove.
She was talking too much at the time. Talking too. Most of the time when people are straightening hair, they talking ish. But it was real popular a few years ago. What about 4? At least about 5, really 7. It was really popular for people to go and have the Africans braid their hair, but I don't see that happening so much. I think a lot of those. I know my wife and other people used to talk about those Africans being so sneaky and nasty because they would be so two-faced. So a lot of people would, a lot of people didn't, a lot of times if you caught them, a lot of times they be using their own language sometime around you, and how we are about people that's not talking English. Hey, what the hell is she saying about me? And because they used to hair braiding used to be real popular, and a lot of the African women would do that. But now it's not so popular. Now y'all wearing afros and naturals and stuff like that, or we still get the straightening comb every now and then. But a lot of girls are free, and some of these afros are so out. Some of those kids would come to school with their hair all messed up, and then so I was talking to they said, yeah. I was saying to my grandson, I said, yeah, they say to you AI people and you computer people, y'all don't never cut your hair. He said, Pops, are you trying to imply me? I said, I think that's true. But they don't. If you notice those people really in the computers and sci-fi, they don't cut their hair. Wait. They got a line. They got a line. They got a line. But they don't cut their hair. But that's
Maybe
interesting.
they don't get out much. Or maybe it's about the ritual,
They get out a lot, but they be having girlfriends online and they be, I don't know. A lot of times, that's a lot of times they just have a different way of seeing the world, different way of seeing the world. The kids who are really, computer literate, really anime and all that type of stuff, they have a different way of seeing the world, and because of the fact that they have, they've been gaming online, they have friends of different races, Sometimes they let you. Sometimes, back in the day, though, sometimes I remember my grandson. Sometimes he would get out of groups because after a while, some of the white kids would start calling him nigger and stuff like that. So it was very difficult, But whenever you think about family, this whole idea of trying to be real, this whole idea of trying, in a sense, to move away from being a mascot, and that's what it is, because see, mascots are supposed to be lucky. And back in the day, every a lot of these Europeans, not so much in America, where slavery was, where they had a lot of chattel slavery, but a lot of Europeans would always have a little black guy, a little black girl, little black boy. Usually it was a black boy. They'd dress him up real cute and stuff, and he was kind of like their mascot, And so then because of that, then people would kind of be a little bit antsy about getting. So you have to really think a bit about this. But what I like about this whole idea of today is that you're allowed to think individually, and that's kind of it's kind of good to be able to sometimes think and have your own way. Create so far. He said, my dad recently sent me an article on the Belgian human zoos where they captured and displayed African people. We're not something to be displayed for their entertainment and sick ritual. You're right. Remember, Yoshimod. Yoshimod did a real good video on this brother, who was put in a zoo. He's put in a human zoo, and he was in a human zoo in New York City. And after he was freed, in a sense, he 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 later committed suicide. I thought that was quite interesting, because you never think too much. You never think too much about the effect that people can have, and because you like to think in a sense is that everything is neutral, but some things are intentionally done. Yes, some things are intentionally done to cause you harm. They're intentionally done in a sense to make you feel inferior or you feel less than. Because see, a lot of people, they find it to their interest to make you feel less than. And this is something that should be really thought about. But you can't always be thinking about the negative. You have to, a lot of times, in a sense, think about where are we going, what do we want to do, and how can we do the things that we'd like to do. Again, I'm teaching my research class. So if you're interested in joining my research class, you can join it. My research class is every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. We're going to push it maybe a little bit later, maybe to 7:30. But my research class is available. So if you want to join it, you can join it. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, let the researcher do the research. Dr. Clyde Winters, let him do the research. We need more researchers like Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, we don't understand that it takes people who want to do research to be able, in a sense, to tell us our history. Yes, many people have taken my course, The Afrocentric Researcher. You can take it too. All you got to do is join. But if you don't, in a sense, join, understand that it's through your hard work, through your persistence, that you can become a researcher. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the researcher. You know what? I've written some books that can help you to be a researcher. Those books are Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentric Studies. Yes, yes, this book is an important book. It'll help you learn all about your history. My other book is Afrocentric Researcher by Dr. Clyde Winters. This book, in a sense, is the most important book that you will find. What makes this book important is that the Afrocentric Researcher provides you with a course, yes, provides you with a course outline that tells you all the things you do to be a great researcher. Yes, get these books, The Afrocentric Researcher, and in a sense, get my book, Pathfinder. These books are the books you need to be successful, the books that will make you a great researcher. Get these books, but let the researcher do the research, but you can be the researcher too.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, come at light whoa. Spring water, how did that go? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy, come at light whoa. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Energy, come at light whoa. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, she told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2-time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I'm not that smart. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. To the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that go? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it from above.
Buy my book, Nationality and the Law. In this book, we discuss the importance of race and identity among many African Americans. I explore the genesis of the so-called blacks from an ethnogenesis of Black Irish, Black Aboriginals, and Sub-Saharan Africans. In this book, you will understand how they were separated into two races and why we call, in a sense, the Caucasian race the white race today. Buy my book, The Nationality and the Law. You'll enjoy it.
Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Time travel in a book. Go far in a book. When is the last time you spent bread on a book? Knowledge given in a book. Benefit from a book. Create a movie from a book. Create animation from a book. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Mexico.
Parents, looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you. Hotel.
Our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Wars between Black Indians and whites were manufactured to produce Black slaves for whites. The English, the French, and the Dutch provided the Native Americans with guns, rum, and cheap goods to purchase Native American Indian slaves. Between 1670 and 1720, many Black Native Americans were enslaved. The Black Native Americans were sold into slavery throughout the 13 colonies. Mississippi Valley, Canada, and the British West Indies. The majority of black Native Americans sold into slavery by whites and Indians. Slave traders were the Choctaw, the Yamasee, and other Carolina tribes. Yes, yes. Many of these tribes, like the Mandi, Mandinga, many of these tribes, we've lost their names. And their names have been lost to history because of the fact, in a sense, that when the European came, as he conquered these black Indians, he just made them slaves. And so over time, in a sense, their nations disappeared. Over time, in a sense, their history wasn't recorded. Over time, they were even able to deny that Aboriginal blacks even existed in America. They wanted to give our Aboriginal ancestors gifts. And the only problem with the gifts that they gave us was that often these blankets that they gave us carried smallpox, yes, diseases. They also, in a sense, gave us another gift, rum, fire water. And this rum caused an addiction among us. And in a sense, it led to a demand for guns because it incentivized Indian slave trading. Yes, the first slaves sold in America were Indians, black Indians, selling other black Indians to Europeans to work on their cotton, not on their cotton plantations, their tobacco plantations, their rice plantations. Yes, yes, yes. We sold each other over here, just like in Africa, because of the fact that we failed to understand that we are one, we are one, we are one. We should be united based upon our identity and our culture as black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.